1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, checking, testing, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Alright, seems like the sound is good. So we take it off of so like it's doesn't seem like it's working. All right, this is a prophecy updates as of April the 24th, 2026 on this Friday afternoon. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to say Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Al-Kadash, and Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, who has the true names in ancient Hebrew. Barash the early tongue, and I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles, the Akim, Akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a prophecy update, so as of April the 24th, 2026, as I mentioned once before. And then as we, that early news article, with that military exercise drills from, France and Poland, which is the ongoing tension that they have against Russia. So, that goes into that Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, so we'll bring that out. So we're going to see Russia versus Ukraine is only going to intensify, which I spoke about that previously, and I wanted to bring out once again. So this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 4. Yeah, this is the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 4. It says, and I will turn thee back and pour purchase thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth with all thy army, horse and husband, all the them forth with all sorts of armor, even in great couple of shields are getting swords, right? Even in great couple of shields getting swords. France and Poland rehearses. It says France and Poland rehearses nuclear strikes on Russia. Right? So they've been doing rehearsal nuclear strikes on Russia. So that shows that the tensions are really heating. So that shows, that the tensions are heating up. It says, my country, India. It says that my name is Jacob, brave for a government job and marriage, please. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 30, verse 4. It says, I will turn you back and go look to that jobs and bring you forth to all of them call for armor, even great covering, but shields, all of them. So, right, so Yahweh Shai is going to put that armor back into the jaws of these Russians. As we say, the Russia-Ukraine situation is still going to intensify. So I'm going to bring out a couple more news articles, if possible. This news article, this connection. But since the internet connection is tweaking, so I'm going to just go through the spirit. And then just like we've been seeing these rising tensions, so that's going to continue increasing. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. It says, you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. These are wars and rumors of wars that we see in our world today that Yahweh Shai spoke about. It says, you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See, that should be done showing for all these things, but first come to pass, but it's not yet. Why? So it's going to come to pass, but not going to end yet. So wars and rumors of wars is going to continue to increase on a daily basis. Matthew chapter 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. That's what we're seeing. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. It says, there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in various places. So we're going to see these famines and pestilence plagues and earthquakes in various places. And shout out to that brother Yahweh, the prophets in the scene, Judge between. And this is the book of, see if I can get to this time of Israel is possible. If not, as I mentioned again, I'm just float through the spirit. This is in the meantime, wait for that to load up. We got to look about Luke 21 and verse 25. This is the book of Luke 21 and verse 25, and reads. It says, there shall be signs in the sun, and the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity with worms. So we're going to see these moderate uptick of the signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity with worms, because that's going to continue to increase. And it says, therefore, we should be seeing earthquakes, upwards through the world, right? just like those recent took place over there in Missouri, outside of Missouri. And then we had the uptick of earthquakes and diverse places throughout America and different parts around the world. And these uproars, people world that we see in our world today, as the tensions continue to increase. So we're inside these protests and these uprisings and uproars, people world that we see in our world today on a day-to-day basis. And these war evil unrest is going to continue to increase as well too. So I'm gonna get back to that CPL 38 shot. And so these tensions between Russia and NATO is only going to continue to increase. Now, this is a news article. It says U.S. envoy Woodruff Kushner to depart Saturday for Iran talks with Pakistan. And it says Tehran says no meeting plans between Iran and the U.S. officials during the Istanbul talks. Also, this is another again for a second time once again. Because I believe what was this past week they were supposed to have talks between the United States and Iran, and it was called off. And you had I think Bushkoff and Kushner, and I believe J.D. Vance as well too. They're supposed to be going over there in Pakistan, either over there in Pakistan to have these talks with Iran. But Iran was like, hold your brakes. They was like, nope, we don't want to talks, no meetings with the United States once again for the second time. And so despite the fact they had extended the ceasefire talks between, Iran and the United States, but they was like, nope, we don't want to. They was like, we still don't want no talks with the United States while y'all continue to block the Strait of Hormuz, and we're gonna continue to target y'all and respond back if y'all continue to if our oil tanks, y'all continue to seize our oil tanks. Best believe we're gonna seize our oil tanks as well too. Anybody that's affiliated with the United States and that is defense force, and best believe we're gonna have time.
Hello, Moto.
Right, so anybody that's in the United States, because the United States recently said, hey, we are sending those weapons to these other nations that's doing deals with the Iran. Because at first they supposedly waived it, but they made it. Hey, it was like, since y'all not going to have negotiated talks with us, hey, best believe. Iran, that's supposed to be, but it's like, no, we're not going to do that. Since y'all not going to have negotiation talks with us, well, we just going to play that game too. And so best believe you're going to have anybody that's trying to have these any deals with Iran, the United States going to use economic sanctions against them. I believe it's like a 50% tariff and sanctions as well too. And so these are what you see modern day economical wars. These are oil wars, trade wars. They're going to continue to heat up between Iran and the United States over that battle about Strait of Hormuz. It says Hamas agency says 13 were unalive yesterday in Israel strikes in Gaza. And so despite the fact that you had Lebanon and Israel, they had an extended ceasefire, but you still don't have intensity of opening in the area. It says Tehran said, this is 2 hours ago, it says Tehran said no meetings planned between Iran and U.S. officials. Right, so no plans, no meetings, no discussion. It says this reportedly agrees to, but do not implement U.S. reports to curb Gaza's rights. So they agreed to some terms from the United States once they had that deal that took place essentially for 3 weeks of a ceasefire over there in Lebanon. But that's not fully including Gaza. So best believe they still going to continue to use airstrikes over there in Gaza for the defense force. They still going to kill innocent men, women, children. They're supposed to be talking about the resistance of the Palestinians and the resistance of the Iranian groups. So he said he had his own mouth yesterday, despite the fact they agreed to that 3-week ceasefire, they still going to have tensions. They still have the right to defend themselves. And if that's the case, do the pro-Iranian groups, do the Palestinians, do the Hezbollah, do they have the right to defend themselves as well too? So that's something to think about. If that's not the case, that's what you're talking about the trees. That's That tells you that we're still gonna have this cross-border conflict. Still on going to continue to heat up over there in Iraq, Syria, the Gaza, over in the borders of Israel, and over there in the Golan Heights. So those senses are only going to continue to increase. It says amending trust. It says Hezbollah. It says Hezbollah attacks the IDF in South in Lebanon as troops. It says as Lebanon troops killed 6 gunmen and it says the IDF was his defense was also stole buildings from the groups launched rocket barrage north shore before Trump announced a ceasefire in extension. It says that Israeli drones down over Tyre. Right, so despite the fact, as I mentioned again, hey, Shalom, you want done, Yahweh Shema Shabbat, Rocket Cloud to your household. And so it's like for that, the internet connection kind of tweaking, so, because I've been out a lot all the time, so the internet connection until I pay my bill sometime next week. But it means that, hey, flow the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shabbat. And, but Shalom to you, brother. You want to, hey, peace and blessing you and your household. And as always, and I say, Shalom. And it says Hezbollah fired rockets and Salvador at the northern Israel shortly before the ceasefire extended, right before the ceasefire extended. And so, despite the fact that the ceasefire, that they agreed to that previous ceasefire, and so that's what you're still going to have ongoing sensitivity over in the area. The Golan Heights, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and definitely particularly over in Lebanon, the southern part of Lebanon, and definitely in Golan Heights, different parts over there. Agree in those areas. You're still going to have these nations of IDF going against the pro-Iran groups and the resistance of the Palestinians. They were report 7, he said that it's the IDF, they have every right to defend themselves. If they have agreed to another third round of talks and extend the trust for the next 3 weeks. And despite the fact that the trust that they had extended yesterday, and which was still going to have on to speak up over there in that region. And this is Luke 21, book about Luke 21, which modern trust of nations and reflects. Matter of fact, second head of chapter 9, verse 3. So it's a lot here for that. You have to look about second head of chapter 9, verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, uproars, people worldwide. So it's saying uproars, people world. And this is out of second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 15. For the sword of destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in hands. And so the borders between over there in Ethiopia and Sudan, those sisters are only going to heat up. Hey, over there in Ethiopia, Tigara, I think that's the name of that group. They've been battling against their different organization factors over there in the area. And you're still going to have tensions heating up between the borders of Israel and Lebanon. It says, for the sword of destruction draweth nigh, right? For the sword of destruction draweth nigh. It says, and one people stand up and fight against another with swords in hands, right? Because this is the Palestinians and Hezbollah going against the Israel defense. Hey, so one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands. That's what we said, because we know the modern day weapons of sword. It says, verse 16, for there should be sedition among men, like those protesters that we've been seeing over there in Ireland. And so best believe, since the United States is going to be blocking this oil tanks in the Strait of Hormuz, and that's going to affect every nation around the world, because they depend on oil, these oil, gas, this fuel sources, and so that's going to continue to spark up more tension between the nations, and that's what we're seeing. It says, verse 16, for there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor their princes, and of course, actually stand power. Right, of course, actually stand power. And that's what we're seeing. And this is the book of so many of it at that. Second Ezra 16 verse 17. It says that there shall be in every place in the next city a great insurrection. Right, so every place in the next city a great insurrection. That's what we see. What's that song that came to increase? So this is going to be some more tensions between the nations. The nations are in perplexity. What's that song that will continue to increase? And this is the book of Luke 21 and verse 25. It says, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity is born. So more and more of the distress of nations where perplexity is born, which that's going to continue to increase, and that's what we're seeing. So I'm bring out that Jeremiah. Yeah, Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8, because these are war, evil, and pestilence that we're going to continue to see in our world today. It's only going to continue to increase. And That's what we do, these prophecy updates. We do these outside street ministry teachings of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. And so we are in those modern day times and seasons. Every person so meantime, before I bring that out, I got a shout out to that brother. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time of every purpose in heaven. Right, so we're in those modern day times and seasons of modern day biblical science are increasing. Now we drop number 7. It says in the time to reign, in the time to sow, in the time to decide, in the time to speak. And so we're in the time of speaking of biblical science prophecies are increasing. I'm going to verse 8. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 8. It reads, it says, in the time to love, in the time of HATE, and in the time of war, time of peace. Right, so as we see, these war, evil, and offenses are increasing. We're still in the time of WHR, and we're still in the time of HATE. And so these war, evil, and offenses on the continue to increase. And that's what we see in nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, mighty rule against mighty rulers. That's on the continue to increase. Right, so this is, before I bring out that Jeremiah 28, verse 8, bring out that Jeremiah 51, verse 46. And this is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 46. It says, and these shall have faint and fear for Roman shall hurt the land. And a woman shall come both 1 year, after that another year shall come a woman. God's land rule against rule, right? So mighty rule against mighty ruler, and that's what we're seeing. And so we see nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, wars and rumors of wars. So all that's going to continue to increase, and that's what we see in our world today. And this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8. It says, the prophets that had before thee and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence. So we are out here prophesying against great countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence. So these are war, evil, and pestilence that we see in our world today, which is only going to continue to increase. I think it's like 30 minutes ago or an hour ago, I seen at CBS News, they had this a lot of measles cases been increasing. We've been seeing that C-19 cases been increasing. Different parts around the world over here in the Virgin out of Babylon. So these are signs that we're going to see in more war, evil, and pestilence. It says Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 9. It says the prophet which prophesied peace when the word of the prophets come to pass. Then should the prophet be known that Yahweh should be sent. And so these are prophecies that got to come to pass when and this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. Then you get back to the news articles on the right side. Yeah, this is the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. And so the battle prosperity for Moses will continue to increase. Joel, chapter 3, verse 9 says, blame ye this among the Gentiles while the armies of other nations as they continue to be gathered up over there in Western Asia. It says, blame ye this among the Gentiles while the armies of other nations. It says, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, that all the men in war draw near to come up, right? So that all the men in war draw near to come up. Hey, you had Iran, they was like, we don't want to have no discussion meetings between the United States. And so that shows that the battle of Australia moves is only going to continue to increase. And so these nuclear wars, these oil wars, and these fuel wars is going to continue to increase between Iran and the United States over there in the Strait of Hormuz. And so the battle of Strait of Hormuz is going to continue to increase. So that shows you that Yahweh Shai is putting that warlike mindset. These are armies of the nations. Wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near them come up. And that's what we see over there in the Middle East, which is Western Asia. Joel chapter 3, verse 10, it says, beat your plowshares and swords and the pointing hooks into spears, and let the weak stand strong, right? So let the weak stand strong. And the resistance of the Palestinians, the pro-Iranian groups, going against the Israel Defense Force, the United States Army, so that's only going to continue to increase. Despite the fact they extend these ceasefire talks, Iran was like, no, we don't want no meetings with the United States at this moment, because we don't fully trust them, because they spoke about that a couple of days ago, and that's what we're seeing, you know. So this was just a quick prophecy updates as of April the 24th, 2026, on this Friday afternoon. So Salakia for the internet connection, you know, I gotta pick up the bill very soon next week. So in the meantime, I'm just using this, this data that I got until I pay my bill next week. And besides that, Salakia for the internet connection and stuff like that. But as I mentioned again, we're seeing these biblical signs, these prophecies, they all going to continue to increase. As we see more and more of the third Lewis word, we're seeing the mark of the beast being fully implemented. We're seeing the famine of the words being implemented. We're seeing these war, evil, and pestilence, and these biblical signs, these prophecies, going to continue to increase. So that makes perfect sense. So this is a prophecy updates, as I mentioned again, as of April the 24th, 2026, on this Friday afternoon. So hopefully this is edifying the spirit of verse. You got the hot wire shot. And once again, shout out to the brother, one of them. Hey, peace, blessings to your childhood as always. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to say Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Dash, and the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and the Son begot the Son by Hashem, in the name of Hamashiach Yahushua. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, Balash, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, by Agim, by Akwaf. And so next time I would say Kwame Shirala, and Shalom.